She doesn't even go here.
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Homo, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Hello! Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Not So Straight Nerds. I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your host, Alicia.
And today, we are talking Michael, the latest musical biopic. I don't super know really where our conversation's going to go today. I feel like this is a fairly straightforward movie.
I suppose.
There's certainly things I want to talk out. But yeah, I just don't really know what to expect. Same, I will say, as I did not know what to expect from this movie going into it. The reception, the initial reception from critics led into some worries I had about the film just from the trailer alone.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I think that probably even helped the experience of the movie. Because even in my Letterboxd review, I was like, y'all, I was bracing for a much worse movie. What the heck, guys?
Yeah.
So there's certainly a lot to talk about with reception as well. Before we get too deep into starting any of that.
Vibe check.
Oh my god, Alicia, how are your vibes today?
I'm doing okay. I had a really bad day at work yesterday, so I'm kind of still mentally drained a little bit. But it's okay. We're gonna figure it out. So, and I like filming, so this is like, not that I make any money from this job, but this is like another job and one I like right now. So, yeah. Anyways, how are you?
I am big chillin'. Marvel Rivals had a huge update yesterday. It was going through the player versus vampire environment mode.
Right.
Super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Right before we called it a night, I got an upgrade on my Squirrel Girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I went from being the bottom player in kills and damage the entire night, and then I get one upgrade, and then I'm the strongest person on our team by 5 times.
Wow.
The person in second. And then I upgraded the abilities that I upgraded one level to get me there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Gotta love the
bro,
upgrades.
it's so fun. But anyways, reframing us back to Michael. I am going to throw up, we are going to be talking spoilers. It's the life of Michael Jackson. But this is just to say we are going to be talking in depth and details of the film. If you want to see it for yourself beforehand, we recommend you go and see it. It is in theaters right now. And it probably will be for a hot second. So, grab your seat.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I maybe talked a little bit about my thoughts beforehand, but let's start like we usually do on expectations. Where were you at leading into Michael?
Personally, I was very excited. I really liked the trailer. I don't know, I feel like I don't have very high expectations about biopics. I don't know, the conversation around them with certain people is interesting to me because I feel like they're not always great stories. I don't know, it's half story, half celebration of their music, because we're talking specifically musical artist biopics. So I feel like Michael Jackson is such a big name. He is I don't know, I would say arguably the biggest name ever, just in any kind of music. And so I feel like just knowing that it's kind of impossible to cover everything and still properly celebrate him. But when his, I believe, nephew got casted as him, I feel like that was a really good sign that they're taking this seriously. They know what they're doing and they're going to do right by Michael Jackson. And I don't know a lot about him. I think he died before I was even born. actually. Wasn't it 2001 or am I crazy?
Let me Google. You keep talking.
I was born in 2002. So, anyways, yeah, if I'm right, then he died before I was born, and so obviously I still heard about him. I still listen to his music. Like he is
2009.
2009. Okay, well, then I grew up a little bit with him. And so I just don't. It's not like I was there for necessarily the biggest parts of his career. Nor was I old enough to even understand that if that was the case. So I knew his music, but I didn't know a lot about him as a person. Later in school, I would find out a little bit. Like I took a forensic science class and we had a segment where we talked about the facts and then some speculation with how his doctor had been diagnosing him and like administering certain drugs and things for him. Because, you know, it's always like a question, did the doctor kill him? Like all those things. So I learned more about him in that way. My mom always talks about he was obviously amazing, but he was also very insecure, which we very much see in this film. She said it's always sad because it seemed pretty apparent how insecure he was, which is just sad to think about when you're so loved and so celebrated. But it also makes sense because so many eyes are on you. I don't know. So I knew a little bit about him. So I was excited to see what they would do with that and how they would tell that. And it's especially because it seemed like they were going to take it seriously. And then if nothing else, I was excited to hear the recreation of his music, and not only sound wise, but visually. Yeah, I thought the trailer looked good, and I feel like that was my expectations. I was expecting to maybe learn a little bit about him, but more than anything else, just celebrate him and listen to his music like so many other biopics. So, yeah. It's different because I feel like I think of A Complete Unknown. I knew almost nothing about Bob Dylan, nor did I listen to like any of his music beforehand. So that was a very different experience. Whereas Michael Jackson, I knew a little bit about him, and I listened to a lot of his music beforehand. So, just differences, not necessarily good or bad, just different experience.
Berlioz is going crazy in your lap right now.
He is right now. Okay, he's such a sweetie. He's just a little wiggly.
King.
It was his birthday Wednesday, so everybody say happy birthday to Burley.
Happy birthday.
1 whole year old.
Damn.
Such a cutie. Anyways, what were your expectations? Because they were different than mine.
They were. I will say I was very intrigued very early on by the idea of a Michael movie. I remember there was a lot of conversation on how into his what is the word I'm looking for?
Controversy? Yeah,
controversies. They were going to go into ultimately with the time frame of this movie. You certainly it cuts off before I think any of the major ones start.
Yeah. Well, and they cut out a lot of things that happened to him, like the whole Diana Ross thing. They cut her entire character out after filming so much of her. So I don't know. That makes me question what they're going to touch on, because they didn't even cover things that happened to him that probably, I would think, would have greatly affected him as a person. So I don't know.
It is. I'm fairly certain that this is a movie that's, if not made by, approved by, like, the Michael Jackson Foundation. Like, I'm pretty sure the logo of his Heels Up for that studio, I'd be surprised if that was not at least heavily influenced by the Michael Jackson estate.
Sure.
And I remember some critics were talking about the I Want to Dance with Somebody movie.
Which I have not seen.
And it shows, like, her manager as, like, really close and, like, the best person ever, as played by Stanley Tucci.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people being like, and you know what? You can tell that this was a movie made by, like, that manager
team?
owns, like, the production studio.
Yeah.
And I think that does open up the idea of, like, avoiding certain circumstances or conversations to make the focus seem better, and then you kind of twist the narrative in interesting ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think end of the day for stuff like this, there is a through line of like the undeniable impact of these creators. But I do think it's interesting to think about what's being left out. Not to maybe a little too casually throw this in here, but it's almost like a like it kind of gives like propaganda games of like, where are you trying to put your audience in, and it makes me wonder, like, what are they trying to make us not remember or look over? It's just
I
an
don't know
interesting
anything
idea.
about that, so I can't speak on that. So, and we'll see. Second movie. Anyways,
I just think it's always very interesting when people involved in the story come in to try and tell somebody else's story.
okay.
Lost the plot. Anyways, the trailer, I thought it was a good trailer. I felt a little unnerved that as we went on, they never really seemed to show a whole lot more of the movie than what was already in the trailers. And then certainly I don't think anything in the trailers really hint towards any of the substance of the movie.
Yeah,
And
like,
then-
I don't think they ever really touched on how much his dad was going to be involved in the film, and he's heavily involved in the film. So that surprised me a little bit. I mean, I knew Coleman Domingo was going to be in it, and then I saw a little bit about his look and that he was going to be a good chunk of the film, but I saw that, like, right before, like, maybe 2 days before I saw the movie. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting that the trailers didn't show that.
And then that combined with critic reaction, put me in a very scared place for this movie.
Yeah.
End of the day, I was hearing that the like song reenactments were all still really fun, so I thought it was like at least gonna be an entertaining 2 hours.
Yeah. It's kind of what
But
I
I was thinking it was gonna be on the shorter end of this genre.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy to
Well-
say it did not for me.
Well, and lengthwise it is shorter. It's almost 2 hours basically, which is, I would say, pretty short for a biopic. I don't know. But they also had to cut a lot of stuff out pretty last minute, so they didn't have time to film anything to fill anything else in. It's interesting though. I feel like I can't picture where they would even put the Diana Ross stuff.
I think they cut around it pretty dang well.
Yeah, it felt like a pretty completed story to me. Obviously, I wish that very important part was shared, but I feel like it didn't. It could have easily ruined their movie, and you could have seen that something was missing, but I feel like you couldn't, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Anyways.
I also remember whenever the trailers revealed, some people were up in arms about Jafar Jackson not looking like Michael Jackson. And I think those people are...
Blind, I guess. Because that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not gonna find anybody better. You realize that, right? I'm like... And in my opinion, to me, it's more important that you have someone who can sound like them. I think
Sound
that's,
and move. For
yes,
Michael Jackson.
yes, for Michael Jackson, that's very important. I think that's way more important than having like a complete twin. And he acted really well, so
Yeah.
I'm like, I can be forgiving even if I did think that he didn't look like him, which I don't. I think he did look like pretty similar actually.
Yeah. Alrighty, going straight into best parts.
I mean, we already kind of touched on it. Jafar Jackson, he did great. I think people are rightfully saying he's the standout in the film and deserves to get some recognition for that. We have a long way until the Oscars, so I don't know if he's going to hold on that long. But we'll see. I mean, early on, sure.
I feel like, so specifically with him, because this is a movie that starts out, I would say, like, what, the first 30 to 40 minutes with young Michael, played by Giuliano Cruvaldi.
Which he was
And let me tell
great.
you, that kid was also really great.
Is it the Golden Globes or Critics' Choice? I think
Critics' Choice was the one that has the child actor.
Okay,
Young
well,
actor category.
we better see him win later this time next year. Like,
He did really good.
yeah.
And I will say, I don't know how hot of a take this is. Whenever they did the initial character switch between the two actors, it took me a second to warm up to Jafar. It got there eventually. Like, I think the moment I was like sold on his performance was whenever he was in the studio starting his new album. Like, oh my gosh, his vocals in that were like, you hear him talking about how like he wants to do like a new sound and a new thing, and like he starts that and it's like, yeah, this is such a
I believe that. Like,
unique
I can see that right
thing.
now.
Gosh, I feel like if I rewatch this movie, it would work quicker off the bat.
Yeah.
Something else that I feel like is going to go crazy is because I've never heard Jafar Jackson like in any kind of interview. Like, I'm so curious what his normal voice sounds like.
Yeah.
I feel like if I heard his voice, I'd be even more impressed by his performance, because when he's Michael, he has such a unique voice. And I think it's just fascinating how well he does that voice.
I agree. I also thought the second that Miles Teller came in, he like immediately got me hooked. Like his character was very, I mean, he didn't have a big part, but I do feel like you could see why he stood out immediately among the other lawyers. And why Michael was like, no, you're my sole lawyer. Like, you other people can get, you other bitches can get out.
And I love that scene.
Yeah.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I get it. Like, I think Miles Teller did a good job at exuding that energy. And I almost wish we got more of his character, but I don't know. I mean, maybe he wasn't a huge part in real life either. Also, I want to shout out, obviously...
what? I wonder if he would... Do you think there's a possibility he was more involved in the Diane Keaton of it all?
Maybe. I don't know. Which I don't know a whole lot about that situation either. Just kind of when it was announced that her character got cut, people were talking about it. So just from the little I know from that, maybe. Because that's a legal situation if there was anything ever pursued there. So, personally, I also want to shout out the guy who played his bodyguard. I might say this wrong, but it looks like Kalen Durrell Jones or Durrell Jones. I don't know how to say his name, but he kept looking so familiar to me, and I don't know why, because I looked and I don't know him from anything else. I don't know. I just also felt like there was more there that I wanted to see. But I really liked the little that we got. You could tell that he was a really good person to have in his circle. I don't know. He seemed so sweet. I'm like, ugh. But also he would like take a bullet for him. Like, he's a real one.
No, I love that he was giving ride or die, and I thought it was really sweet to see their dynamic shift between Michael as a child and then Michael being an adult.
Yeah.
And obviously some things changed, but at the core it still feels very similar.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I really like that part as well. I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
And
then I guess we have to say Coleman Domingo.
Obviously we have to say Coleman Domingo.
I mean, obviously we're supposed to hate his character, and we do. But he did a great job at doing that, at acting like that.
No, I love the way his character is written here, because I think there's almost a trope that could be done of this character where it's like the dad, like the asshole dad who's always angry, always yelling, but the script and I would say Coleman Domingo, I add so much more depth to the character, and that it, I think, highlights, and I think it's maybe the best example that I can think of the idea of a parent living vicariously through their kids.
Yep.
God, I think that's just explored so well.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's the scene that he has with Michael's mom, Catherine, played by Nia Long, and let me say, she was also amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
Where Joseph says, everything I've done has been for this family, and she has the line, you go ahead and keep thinking that. And I'm like,
Gagged. No, I loved that. I think it's a very important character to portray. And I also feel like among all the other biopics where the main character has, an abusive parent or just a toxic one or absent one, he stands out. He definitely makes a name for himself. I think of other toxic characters that are not necessarily always parents, but I think of like Elvis with the manager. Let's just say this one sticks a lot better for me.
That was Tom Hanks, right?
And
That
I
is
love
like
Tom
maybe
Hanks,
my least favorite Tom Hanks performance.
Oh yeah, like I
By
love
far.
Tom Hanks, but yeah, I agree with that, and I even liked that movie well enough. But yeah, I mean, I compare the two, and there's no comparison. I mean, so that's it. It goes to show even more why Coleman Domingo deserves to be on the best parts.
And I also think the casting of the family was very important, especially with him starting in a family band.
Yeah.
And I think the family aspect is done really well throughout this first film. I think the casting is great. The brothers, I think, don't get a whole lot of time to shine. But as a group, I think they really pop.
Yeah, I agree. They're very talented too.
Absolutely. Other best parts, the sound. I have to believe that they re-recorded all of these. And oh my gosh, it is like it was such a fun experience being in like an environment that's like made to do sound super well.
Yeah.
And to listen to that there.
Yeah.
Furthermore, God, I love theaters.
Yeah, it's, it reminds me of when we went to see the Life of a Showgirl thing that Taylor Swift did in theaters. It was just so fun to listen to that album for the first time in a theater with the best sound system that you could have. I mean, I'm sure, there's like Dolby. We don't have Dolby,
oh my
okay?
God.
But like
album drop on a Dolby theater.
That's
That's
awesome.
crazy.
But still, much better than your phone or even your car or any whatever speaker. Like, it's gonna be one of the best experiences you can have. So I agree. I think it sounded very awesome.
And I think that it does such a great job of highlighting how unique Michael's voice is. Like, there's not a second throughout the entire movie that I'm like, yeah, and like, I could name like 5 people who could do this. It's like, oh my gosh, he's such a niche voice.
Yeah, I agree. I think, a lot of people can have perfect pitch. A lot of people can have unique sounding voices, but I feel like it's hard to describe. It's just something you have to hear, and that makes you realize, yeah, that is actually genuinely unlike any other. So, and beyond that, and beyond his voice, he was just a great superstar. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So good.
Trying to think of anything else. Is there any actor I'm leaving out?
I have to wonder as well, because I really don't know how much of it was solely Jafar Jackson's voice versus was it like an Elvis situation at any point where they said sometimes it was his voice, sometimes it was like a mesh of the two.
I'm very curious of that as well.
And same with the kid. I think more so I wonder that about young Michael, because he like I mean, he sounded exactly like young. So I'm like, was that ever you singing? Because if it was, wow. And you need to go and like American Idol, The Voice, like all these. Honestly, you shouldn't even have to go on those things because someone should sign you yesterday. So that's crazy.
Absolutely.
Even if that was like ever just your voice, sign him a deal, sign him a record deal. So.
Oh, actually, another cast shout out I want to do just because it was fun to see her again. But Laura Harrier, who was
Spider-Man girl.
Yes, from Spider-Man. Yeah. It was very nice to see her here.
It was very fun.
Very fun to see her in like playing an adult. And a really well established adult. It was like, oh gosh, look at. I've left you for like 5 years and look where you are now.
No, that was so fun.
No, I'm super happy for her, and I think she does a really solid role with what she's given.
I agree.
Another great scene is I really like the scene that is Mike Myers. With Walter Yetnikoff. He's the one who did the scene to get Billie Jean on MTV. Love that scene.
Yes, that just reminded me. I want to shout out the guy who played, I believe his name is Quincy Jones, when he was making his first solo album.
Yes, Kendrick Sampson.
He was interesting in the trailers, and I loved seeing him here as well. He just exuded like, wow, this is like a once in a lifetime producer that I would love to work with. And he wasn't in it a lot, but he shined. A lot of people shine with very little screen time.
Yeah, I agree. Gosh. So any last best parts before we move on?
I don't know. Not that I can think of, I guess. The costuming was great. Hair and makeup was great.
Oh, that's a great point. Hair, makeup, and costumes all felt super fun. Especially in the jump between the two different Michaels. It felt like you were in different decades.
I do have to wonder if they're going to get any noms for that at any award shows. Because actually, I think they should at least right now be considered. Again, it's super early on, so it's hard to say.
I feel like hair and makeup is going to be up there for a hot second. Costumes, I feel like it's very early for costumes, but as of right now, of the movies I've seen, it's certainly in the running.
Oh, one last thing. I wanted to shout out how they did the Pepsi scene. That was one of the things I knew a little bit about. More so just that he got hurt on the set of that, and he was never quite the same after that. And I believe that's how he got addicted to painkillers. And so I knew a little bit about that. I knew the second that his dad was like, next thing you know, you're going to do a Pepsi commercial. And I'm like, oh no. And then he does. And I did hear about they were going to show that scene in the movie. That line still gagged me when he was like, next thing you know, I'm like, oh my God. But I thought it was obviously very sad, but really well done. That and everything after. And I also really like how they seem to really show that not only was he a huge fan of Peter Pan, but he really, in a way, was Peter Pan. Like, he was the boy who never quite grew up. I just kept thinking the amount of Disney things in this. But that's, like, if you never quite truly matured and grew up, then, yeah, you probably would still love all these, like...
I mean, a lot of people attributed that aspect of Michael Jackson to the idea that he never really had an opportunity to be a kid.
Yeah.
And that really... And I think it's really interesting... They don't super highlight it, but I can infer it. The idea that this band doesn't start until he's there. So even all of his other siblings have a bit to be a kid before Joe whips him into shape.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. So. And I also loved how much they showed he loved so many different animals. I thought that was really sweet. And that surprised me. I had no idea. I mean, I'm just taking this at face value. I'm
I
assuming
knew
that
Neverland
it's
had
true.
a lot of animals.
I
I
did
didn't realize
not.
he had them before he went to Neverland.
So
I'd heard about the monkey before. The snake's a little crazy.
giraffe, llama, all the things.
Ooh, but something else I loved. In the opening, whenever he's like reading the storybooks, he also reads The Wizard of Oz, and he plays the Scarecrow in The Wiz, and I was like, crazy.
And then I really liked the scene where he tells Miles Teller's character, like, the first thing I need to do is fire my dad.
Yes.
And then he said, "How would you like me to do that? Quickly." Gagged. And then the gag with the fax machine, that was hilarious. I mean, people were dying in the theater. Oh my god, I'm so glad our theater was on the same page for that, because I needed to laugh. Oh my god, what a gag. And again, I immediately loved that lawyer's character. So, wow.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Anyways, switching back to actual worst parts. I don't think we've actually said anything yet.
No, we haven't really gone there.
So I will say this isn't a perfect movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
Where would I start? I would say, oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Go for it.
I feel like for me, I've already kind of mentioned it a few times, but really I just wanted more depth from these characters. I actually feel like in hindsight, I do remember them talking about they were going to split it into 2 parts. I just forgot about it because I was never in any of the marketing.
I don't think I'd ever heard it.
I think I remember hearing it early on, that they were going to split it into 2 parts. But then I just never heard anything about that since, until like right before I saw this movie. I saw somebody on Letterboxd said Michael will return in Doomsday. So I was like, oh yeah. And they do kind of have that Michael will return. I'm like, oh my god, they weren't even exaggerating. But since they're doing 2 parts, I think it would have been nice. Especially, I don't know, it's almost as if I wish, if such a big part was going to get cut, I wish they knew that earlier, so they would have had time to maybe film some more scenes for these other characters. I think, unfortunately, it was just the timing of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really anyone's fault, but it's still just, I have to judge the movie that we got. So
Absolutely.
in hindsight, it's easy to say they should have filmed more scenes, but they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
I would say, I think when we get closer to the 3rd act, I think that's where it really starts to feel less
A little concert-y.
like a story and
Mhm.
more of like a concert movie.
Which, great concert, but when you're getting a good story and you're like, I could see how it needed more depth, but some people are saying it didn't have any and it was just one giant concert. It's like, I can't see that. And then you get to the 3rd act and you're like, hey, now it's starting to seem like that.
And it's very important with your viewers to end on the note you want them to linger on.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see where that might be the takeaway, but I
Yeah.
do think that that's completely dismissing the first 2/3, which I think are a very solid movie.
I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
That being said, oh my god, those performances were so cool.
Yeah, it's hard to complain because maybe the switch up was a little like, oh, okay, we're not. Because as an audience, when you have the first 2 acts kind of bouncing between performances and life storytelling, you're expecting it to cut to something, and it really doesn't for a long time. So that can be a little jarring, but it's hard to like complain other than that, because it's so good what we're watching. Like, I could watch hours of this. Like, I was saying after the movie, I need him to film like a concert film. Like I need him to just have a compilation of the entire song and everything. 'Cause he was so good, and I loved he was talking about on Twitter. I saw this morning or last night sometime that he practiced the moves for a long time because he
bet.
didn't want it to seem like mimicky. He wanted it to seem genuine, like he had the moves in his bones. And I really feel like he did a phenomenal job with that.
Oh, absolutely.
He
Like, especially with
succeeded.
how outlandish some of those movements are. Like, the idea to make all of them feel like this is the thing to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's impressive. And, like, that's a lot from him. That's a lot from the director, the choreographer. Like, there's a lot that goes into that, like, one aspect of this movie. And I think it goes off without a hitch, in my opinion.
Yeah. I really want to ask my parents because they would probably know this answer. I saw a moment in the film where where Michael was saying, I want short films, essentially for my songs, like music videos, but he calls them short films. And it seems a little like, I don't know if I was misreading it, but it seemed a little like this hasn't really been done before. So I'm wondering, like, did he kind of probably not start, but did he popularize music videos for music? I'm really interested in that because that would be pretty awesome. But I don't know if that's the case. I might have misread that scene. So
No, I mean, that's certainly what it kind of was giving. But then later
Yeah.
on, I feel like that contradicts that idea with, oh, he's not allowed to be shown on MTV. So it's like, so there's other music videos out there already? Very interesting.
yeah, that's why I don't know. I mean, certainly, I'm sure he had the most popular music videos of the time. But I am wondering if he kind of more so made it like the expectation to do that, because now so many people do a music video for their lead singles. So I don't know. I want to ask my parents that. I wonder if they would know that better than me.
From
they
what I'm
would know that.
seeing on Google, the earliest recognized music video is often cited as the 1894 illustrated song of The Little Lost Child. I guess that's not what we're looking for. So the next one up, they say, looks to be Video Killed the Radio Star was the first one aired on MTV.
Okay.
So, interesting. And that was in, when was that, 1979? Interesting. That is a little interesting tidbit. Anyways, worst parts, I think sometimes the animals look a little rough to me. Specifically, the monkey in its first scene and the snake. That snake did not look real to me for a second. Or at least it did not look like it was actually there.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like cursed, or not cursed, scarred by like Disney live actions, where I'm like, actually, I feel like these were pretty good. I don't know, because some of the Disney live action animals are pretty rough. So I'm like, in hindsight, could have been worse, I guess. I don't know. So I'm pretty forgiving for that.
Beyond that might be all of my little tidbits.
Yeah, kind of me too.
It's overall, I think it's very fun.
Very solid film. There's certainly been worse biopics.
Absolutely.
There's been better, but like, again, like when you're doing a movie for Michael Jackson, like a solid film is pretty good for him.
And it feels like very unique even among other biopics. Like, this one has a lot of whimsy and sadness to it, which I think is not... I mean, there's maybe whimsy in Rocket Man, but I don't know. Like, this feels like a very unique movie even in this genre, so I really can't agree with a lot of critic reception to this.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they were too harsh on it.
Question on our director, Antoine Fuqua.
I'm
Apologies
so bad
if I'm
with
getting
names,
that
people.
wrong. But how do you think the directing was in this movie?
I thought it was good. I feel like I had no problems with how it was shot, any of the scenes. I think even there were a few scenes that I really liked. God, I can't remember what it was, but there was something with Michael, and there was like they were playing with lighting that I remember really liking, and I forgot what it was. But it made him seem like trapped, I would say. God, I wish I could remember when that was and exactly what it looked like, but I do remember there was a moment in the film where I thought, well, that lighting choice is really cool. So, it's not anything I would say award worthy, but it was solid.
And
It
I
did its
will
job.
say, his career is very interesting, because among his filmography, he mostly does a lot of action. Like, he's the director of the 3 Equalizer movies, Olympus Has Fallen, The Guilty, The Magnificent Seven. This is
Interesting.
he
Very
definitely
different for
focuses
him.
on, I think, primarily on like black-led movies, which this is in that vein. But as far as I can tell, this seems to be a bit of a standout in his filmography. I think it's very interesting to think about the comparisons between like action choreography and dancing choreography. I don't know. I wonder if it's almost like how horror comedy directors get into horror. Like you're seeing that a lot right now. I wonder if there's some kind of a comparison to be made there.
Yeah.
The only other movie I've actually seen of his was Equalizer 3. And I would say this is better than Equalizer 3. And that surprised me as being a really solid movie, especially as someone who hasn't seen Equalizer 1 or 2. It was fun.
I wanted to ask positive thing. I would say positive. Obviously, like there's a lot of controversy that they could potentially touch on, and it would be interesting to see if they do, and if they do, how much they go into that. But as far as like, not necessarily positive things, but like, his, I might say this wrong, vitiligo, I believe. The skin condition that he had, things like that. I'm trying to think of other things that I know happened to him, or including him. Like I think
he eventually marries Elvis's daughter. Oh my God! What if we see Austin Butler return as
we see
Elvis?
Riley Keough return. She's Elvis's.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know what she looked like in real life, so maybe Riley Keough looks nothing like her. But like,
but I mean, that's
she's
surprisingly on brand for casting. I wonder how far they are into making the next one.
I don't know.
And also, what on earth are the chances it's called anything other than Jackson?
That would be actually pretty awesome. But after like, I don't know, after Now You See Me fumbled with the second one and then tried to make up for it with the third, and then Ready or Not 2 was not exactly Ready or Not Here I Come. I don't know if I have much faith in that, but that would be wishful thinking. That would be nice.
I'm curious.
Jackson. I would like that. I think that would be pretty gaggy. Like, let's do it.
Because like what else would you call it?
Mike, I'm serious. I'm worried they're gonna be like Michael 2. That's what they're gonna call it, and I think that's so lame. But I don't know. I also want to see him meeting. I don't know when this happens in the timeline, but I want to see him meeting Princess Diana, because I love that interaction. Because she's like, because he's so nervous because he has like the, what is it? I don't know too much about it, but I think he has like a Dirty Diana song or something. He's so nervous to meet her because of that. She's like, please, are you playing that song? He's like, no, I wasn't going to, out of respect for you. She's like, no, I love that song. Please play it. And that is like one of my favorite videos that I've ever seen, I think. I love that interaction. If that fits in the timeline, I would love to see that reenacted in that second film. So, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'm fairly optimistic about the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if, because I haven't heard of it, so I don't know even what I would look at. I would assume the director's coming back.
I have no idea. I mean, I would assume they would film it back to back, but I really don't know.
I feel like if it was filmed back to back, or I would assume I would have heard more about it, the way like Wicked 1 and 2 was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I just don't know.
But also in that same vein, with the idea of you're already splitting his career in two here, I feel like there's another timeline where the young actor of Michael got like a whole movie to explore the Jackson 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there would be a lot of value in that as well. Of like a trilogy, a Michael trilogy.
I mean, he'd be like one of the few musical artists that I think could, where they could ask for that, and they would be given that.
Gosh, if that young actor, I think, was known from like anything else, like if some timeline he was like randomly in Stranger Things, like I think that could have been something that they pushed for.
He was awesome.
That kid could have led a whole movie.
Yeah, I hope to see him in more for sure.
Alrighty, I think that's all we have on Michael. Next up, we have ranking musical biopics.
How many do you want to rate?
I only have 10.
I also only have 10. Perfect.
Okay. We did this before. I'm trying to think what. Hold on, it would be on this list. We would have done that for Springsteen. Springsteen was when we did this last. So I'm curious if there's any, and I don't remember, but I wonder if there's anything from that's like on my list that's not on your list.
Oh, certainly. I mean, the Whitney Houston one's not going to be on my list.
Sure.
And then you haven't seen Better Man.
I've not seen Better Man.
So there's a switch off right there. And then there's at least one or two others that I don't think you've seen. But then I also watched Rocket Man since then. So
Something I don't... Okay. I have Tick Tick Boom on my list.
Me too.
Okay, got it. I think that was a question I can't remember.
I mean,
think that was brought up last time.
Yeah, it should be on our list for sure.
Cool. Okay. I have mine. I'll start my number 10. I have Elvis. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I so rarely get so bogged down by long movies. Like, and this was pretty early on in my getting into film stuff. If I wasn't in that mode already, I would not have gotten an hour into this movie. I think the editing is super tacky. I think Tom Hanks gives a horrendous performance that pulls me out of the movie. I think the song choices they add are super jarring.
Wait, should we do Song Sung Blue?
Song Sung Blue totally goes on the... Why have I not seen anything about that?
We should so add it to the list. Then we both have 11.
I'm adjusting my list. Elvis is number 11. But yeah. Oh, and I think... What's his name? That little guy named Austin Butler. I think he does fine. I think he has much better performances. And then not to mention Priscilla came out after this. And I think that movie...
So good.
Is
I love
so much better.
Yeah.
So.
I agree. My number 11 now is Better Man. I'm so sorry. I'm not on the train that was a fan of this. I would be willing to rewatch this when you want to watch it if you want. Obviously, I'm not. If you want to watch it on your own, that is so okay with me as well. But just if it works out, I would be willing to rewatch this and give it another chance, because I think this is it'll be interesting because you complained about the monkey in this movie, and you get like an entire movie of that in Better Man. So, it'll be interesting to see if that bugs you. And there's something else that, anyways, we'll talk about it whenever you see that movie.
My number 10, I have Bob Marley's One Love. I was really hoping to like this movie more than I ended up liking it. It has two really great lead actors.
See, I haven't seen that one.
It was, it's fine. Aggressively fine.
My number 10, I'm so sorry, but it's Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, this is a notch above Better Man, I'll tell you that. But I don't know. I feel like I didn't remember being blown away by this one, and I was even warned that it wasn't that good. Because although I will say I remember Rami Malek was really good. So I remember saying people were like he's one of the worst performances to win Best Actor. And I was like, I like Rami Malek. That was where my difference of opinion was. It was like, I'm also not blown away by this movie, but I do love Rami Malek. So, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 9, I Want to Dance with Somebody. There's another decent gap here. I thought this was solid, if not maybe a little loosely. It tries to do a lot of things, so it's not a super focused movie, I think is what I'm trying to say. But I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 9 is Elvis. The only reason I ranked this higher is because I did really like Austin Butler's performance. And I don't know. I feel like the performances are really good, except for the manager, of course. We already talked about that. And I don't know. I remember not hating the way it was filmed. But isn't it directed by the same person who did the Margot Robbie movie that you didn't like?
Is that a Damien Chazelle movie? No way. Hold on.
I don't know. I might be wrong about that.
I think you are.
Baz Luhrmann, that's the guy who directed it.
Baz Luhrmann. What else have you done?
What else? Yeah, what else has he
Gatsby,
done?
Romeo and Juliet, Moulin Rouge. I fear I don't see any of that. I mean, I do, but like, it's giving someone trying to do those, and
It's okay.
My number 8, I have Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere. A very soulful cast. I think it's pretty solidly made. But I think it's maybe too quiet for its own good. It's a very soft-spoken movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought it was really solid.
Yeah. Next I have Respect.
I have not seen that.
Oh my gosh. It's a very dark movie, but it was well done. I don't know. I don't want to give too much away, but you need to see that film. There are a lot of good performances in it, especially the lead performance. So, yeah. Period.
My next one is Piece by Piece. I believe it was Pharrell Williams is his name. His biopic animated
Pharrell
in Lego.
Williams?
Pharrell Williams.
I
Sorry.
was like, wait, I know that movie. But it's the guy who did Happy. No,
Yeah.
Pharrell Williams.
Yeah, very fun. I love them trying to experiment with storytelling about real people's lives. Because I do think it's interesting, the conversation of like, okay, well, a person's life can't necessarily be a movie exactly, because like lives don't have narrative structure. But playing around with that, this was a very unique way to do so, even if I think it makes him come off as a huge hypocrite. But whatever.
Pardon my sneeze.
No, I won't.
No. My number 7 is Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. I kind of agree. We have a whole video on this if you want more thoughts.
We do.
But I did really like Jeremy Allen White's performance, so I thought he did good. like he should do more stuff. I'm excited for him and Mandalorian. Very different, so we'll see.
At number 6, I have Michael. This is where we get into the category of things I'd be like, these are like really solid. Yeah, we just had a whole episode on what I like about Michael. Very good.
Okay, my number 6 is Song Sung Blue. I think this is the point of like, this is a solid film. Like, I really liked this. We were definitely bigger fans of this movie than a lot of other film people were. But I'm so glad we got to share that because I thought it was good. I'm glad this was not one where we were like on two different sides of this. So, yeah, it was a fun experience. And we watched it the same day as Marty Supreme. So I'm like, I'm sorry. Marty Supreme was a great movie. And so if we still liked this movie, then I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
At number 5, I have A Complete Unknown. Hey. I think this is up there as as Timmy C's best performances. I think this is a good...
I still think he should have won the Oscar for that.
Who won over him?
Adrian Brody. Mm-hmm. You know, the guy who didn't actually solely do his performance and used AI.
But whatever.
Anyways.
Yeah, super fun. Bob Dylan, love portraying him as a weirdo. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Next I have Rocket Man. I'm so glad I finally got around to this. And I don't know, I think the performances were good. Costumes were good, and
I really like the
songs were
filming.
good.
This like the way it like gets weird whenever the music is being sung.
Mhm.
I love that effect
I
so
do.
much.
Yeah, I agree. So I think you described it perfectly earlier, kind of like Michael, where it had a lot of sadness and whimsy.
But it still
I
feels
agree
very
with that.
different from Michael, because this one
Yes.
focuses a little
Yeah.
bit more on like a relational aspect. It's very interesting. My number 4, I have Song Sung Blue. Oh my gosh, I was in tears for like a lot of this movie. But I absolutely love the cast. I think you have to be doing something really great when like Hugh Jackman is maybe your weakest link of the main cast.
Crazy.
So yeah, this was I had pretty good expectations going into this movie, and this blew me out of the water. So yeah, super love this movie.
Okay, next I have Michael. This is where my ranking is of Michael. Yeah, really solid, and I'm excited for part 2. And I would have even watched 3 parts if they had gone that route, so it is what it is.
I don't know how to spell this. Next up, and I will say, take this with a grain of salt. It has been so long since I've seen this movie, but it's Bohemian Rhapsody. I remember really enjoying it. I remember thinking it was funny and moving. I watched this when I was pretty young, so my taste has definitely changed since I've watched it. But from what I can remember, I thought it was really good. So that could change.
Fair enough.
And I definitely do need to give it a rewatch.
Okay. My next one, kind of the same vein. I haven't seen this since my freshman year of high school in Spanish class.
Selena.
I watched Selena. I remember really liking it, but again, it's been a while. But I remember liking it, so I would so be down for a rewatch. And you
I haven't seen it, so
Yeah,
we should watch it.
Absolutely. Sure.
And you know what? I think my Spanish teacher played pieces of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
We were watching it in Spanish class, and where I went, we had a separate school for freshmen, and then the rest of the high schoolers were at a bigger school. And I was in band, so we had to be bussed over. And the Spanish class was when I had to leave about 10 minutes early each day to be bussed over to make it to the next period for band. And let's just say we had like probably the worst timing with when we had to leave with a scene that lined up in this movie.
Damn.
That's all I'm going to say about that. You guys probably know. I mean, think of like the worst part to leave in the Selena movie. That's when we had to leave for band. It was so bad. So I rewatched it at home. Because I was like, now I don't even get to see it. So it's like I don't even get to see the conclusion or anything.
Crazy.
Yeah. So we watched it. So. Anyways.
At my number 2, I have Rocket Man. I will say it's been less of a hot second since I've seen this, but unlike Bohemian Rhapsody, I know I'm still gonna love this if I rewatch it. I absolutely love Taron Egerton. I think this might be Kit Connor's first movie, or certainly one of his earliest movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's so fun and creative. Yeah, I absolutely adore it.
My number 2 is Tick, Tick, Boom. This is such a good movie. And argue with the wall if you don't think it deserves to be on this list, because it does. But I get it. I was looking at Letterboxd and what they count as like musical movies. So some of them obviously like Wicked, like that's not a biopic. But there was like Maria with Angelina Jolie.
I did see Maria.
I feel like that would probably count.
And that'd be pretty high. I really liked Maria.
Yeah, and then
oh my god, I was literally crying at the end of that movie, and then I didn't get any respected award circuit, and I was like, for shame.
And then there were a couple others where I'm like, I think that would count. But I didn't add anything else to my list, so it's okay. But anyways, Tick, Tick, Boom deserves to be on here, and it's number 2, so it's really good.
Yeah. Oh.
So.
And I'll not to one up you on that, but I have Tick, Tick, Boom at number 1. Oh my gosh, I adore this movie so much. It balances like a lighthearted, super fun tone with like super real and depressing drama. And I don't know, if that's not life, then what is? I absolutely adore this. It's a great movie.
My number 1 is A Complete Unknown. I'm such a big Timothée Chalamet fan, even if he needs to be humbled right now. And I can admit that. I can like his performances and him as an actor, and also admit that he needs to be humbled. And I think he was. I think he was this year by losing the Oscar. And I
think we can close that chapter.
Yeah, I agree. So I'll be interested to see if he approaches this next like press tour with Dune 3. Such a stupid name. You had Dune Messiah right there. That's why I'm like, I don't know about the white movie. I don't know if they're gonna stop.
Dune 3, but the E is the 3. So it's just Dune.
I'm gonna like cry.
Again?
No, they're gonna finally change it. They're gonna be like Dune Part 3 Messiah. That's how stupid it's gonna. That's how Ready or Not was. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. No, do the phrase. Ready or Not, Here I Come. Why do you have to have 2 in there? It's so like It's such a nitpicky thing, but it drives me up a wall. I can't.
Or it's Dune Messiah, a Dune film Part 3,
No.
and you kill yourself.
No, don't take that into existence. That's even worse.
It's just super obnoxious.
Oh my god.
No, it's like Gran Turismo based on a true story, and that's actually the title of the film.
Oh my god. Well, anyways, I will be interested to see if he approaches that film any differently, because he's also a very toxic character in Dune Messiah. So I don't think it'd be smart to approach that in a similar way as Marty Supreme. So we'll see. See if he learned his lesson. Anyways.
And that's our list, gang. Please let us know some of your favorite musical biopics in the comments below. We'd love to hear some of your favorites.
Sure.
And especially if we missed any.
Yeah, I'm sure, like Maria, like, you know, there's some that probably could have been on this list, but it is what it is.
Absolutely. What else do we have on our outline? Reception has not been great. I actually don't know if cinema scores come out yet. Let me take a look.
I don't know, because we're filming this on a Saturday, and it usually comes out on, like, mid-Saturday, so it might be a little too
It
early.
has released.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can guess what the scores are at now. I kind of have an idea if they haven't drastically changed since, like, 2 days ago. Last I saw, critic score was at a 39, so better than it debuted. It was, like, a 25 when it debuted. It was pretty bad. And audience score was, like, 95. So, is that still kind of the vibe?
It's the vibe.
Okay, is that exactly the
It is
vibe?
not exactly.
Oh, okay.
Critic score is at a 38. Audience is at a 97.
Sure.
So, interesting. And then what do you think the cinema score is?
Gosh, okay, well, they do audience for that.
Yes.
So, I'm going to say an A. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it was an A minus.
It is an A minus.
Okay. That's still pretty good,
That's
though.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Looking at the box office, currently, worldwide, it has made 31 million. And we are not even through the weekend yet.
Wow.
And these are the numbers I counted up yesterday. So this is based off of maybe just Thursday and Friday.
Maybe Friday.
Maybe
yeah.
Friday. And
Maybe.
that might be generous. So
That's crazy.
the question, how far do we think Michael's going to go?
I still don't think it's going to make $1 billion. I think, unfortunately, the critics' score coming out kind of killed any chances. I think it was already going to be a little bit of a long shot, but I did have faith it could get there. I don't think so now, but I still do think it's going to do really well, especially for a biopic.
Also, it's one of the most expensive movies of the year so far.
Well, when you're making a Michael Jackson
Yeah,
film, that's when you cut the check. Cut them a check, whatever, blank check, whatever they want. Gosh, I don't know. It's hard. I wish I had the opening weekend numbers, like full weekend. It's hard to guess on just the previews because I just don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But God, if it was just Thursday and it's already at 30 million, that's crazy to me. I'm thinking at least like 600 million or something, and that might be low. I
think that might be lowballing it.
I really do. I think so too. I think it might be more like 700 or 800. So maybe I'll say like a good 750.
Okay.
Just go in the middle. It was solid 750, which is really good for a biopic, especially with a critic score like that. And it honestly might surpass that. It's really hard to tell. Like, I wish we could change our answer when we knew the full weekend numbers, but it's okay. It is what it is.
I am going to lock in 800. I'm going to price is right you, but I think it's going to go noticeably over both of these.
Yeah, and I honestly, I hope you're right. A lot of these, I'm like, anytime you're optimistic, I'm like, most of the time, I hope you're right, actually.
We'll see. We'll see. I think it's worth noting that 18 million came from international, and I think that's going to really push this.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
Let's get it done, world.
Let's get it done. Yeah, and hopefully it's universal, so I hope that they'll keep it in theaters for a while. I think they will. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is everything we have to talk about today. That is our thoughts on Michael. You can still see it in theaters right now. Let us know your thoughts on Michael in the comments below. And if you've made it this far in the video, please leave us a like if you've enjoyed your time. We greatly appreciate it. And until next time, I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your host, Alicia.
And thank you so much for watching Not So Straight Nerds.
Bye.